Hey guys, David with Vares Media here, and as Professor Farnsworth from Futurama first said, good news everyone! My A7 IV has arrived. Now, I'll have plenty of A7 IV content coming up over time, but my day job is currently insanely busy and I am just about to move house. So I thought I would try to get a first impression summary out to you guys before the crushing dread of real life slows me down. Take that, crushing dread. And since I will be doing all sorts of deeper testing in the future, I figured the best structure for right now was to share the 5 biggest upgrades that I have noticed compared to my trusty A7C, especially for videography. Just before we do that, if you enjoy the video and want to catch that future content, then please do like, subscribe, drop a comment, check out the affiliate links in the description to help keep the channel going, all of which is a huge help and hugely appreciated. So, with that said, let's talk about upgrade area number 1, and that is ergonomics. My A7C always had just enough operational flexibility for me to manage, and along with the compactness, that was fine. But hands-on with the A7 IV, and it is a gigantic improvement. Like my current post-COVID body, I don't love the extra weight, but like a genetic engineer and clothing supply company, I do love the endless customization and wealth of buttons. I also don't generally bother with viewfinder shooting for video, unless it's hard to see my screen or monitor, but the bigger, more comfortable, better image quality and better positioned viewfinder of the A7 IV is actually making me second guess myself and change my habits a little. It's definitely much more useful for me now. Last but not least, among early estimations of expertly engineered ergonomics are a couple of tactile elements. The A7 IV grip is larger, nicer and more satisfying, while the new quick change between photo, video and S and Q from the bottom part of the mode dial is actually a surprisingly big workflow benefit. Second on our saunter sequence summarizing stronger stuff is software. Now, I never bought into all the fuss about Sony's menu system and how hard they were to understand and navigate. Are they amazing? No. Are they usable? Yes. For me, it's a bit like a toilet brush. So long as it does the job, I don't really care how fancy the interface is, but I was wrong. After a short adjustment period, the new menu in the A7 IV, and indeed in Sony's other more recent higher-end cameras, is way better. Its more logical layout helps a lot, and the actual touchscreen helps even more. Good job, Sony. It only took $2.5 grand in 2021 to get a proper functioning touchscreen on one of your mass market cameras. Now, I'm just gonna go and email the Nobel Prize for Science committee with your detail. Sarcasm aside, the other software features which have left a strong positive first impression include focus maps, which initially look a bit like a visual migraine, but can be a really helpful tool for precise focus movements. Focus breathing compensation as well is really nice. Despite the initially limited lens compatibility, when it does work, it's very cool. Shockless white balance is not only a strangely cool 3-word phrase, but also an additional option to control how fast or slow white balance changes are executed when shooting video without fixed white balance. So I suspect that'll be a bit more situational, but certainly very good for vlogging. While the new variable shutter is awesome for extra incremental flexibility, especially when trying to avoid light flicker on problematic lights. So the A7 IV feels nicer in the hand and does more interesting things, but let's get away from descriptions that could also apply to adult toys and switch instead to image quality. I haven't had time for pedantic pixel peeping type tests yet, so I'll keep this to high-level factual differences right now between A7 IV and A7C. First, we get a lot more video recording options on the A7 IV with both higher bitrate and higher quality, more efficiently compressed codecs across all available frame rates. The A7 IV offers 10-bit color depth, which is really useful primarily for color grading flexibility, but maybe also helping preserve a bit more dynamic range thanks to that color flexibility. So it's nice to have, and it's making me seriously consider using S-Log more properly now, which was never a temptation on the older Sony 8-bit models. And Having touched on color, the other very immediate image quality upside for the A7 IV is the new picture profile option, number 11 S-Cinetone, which I'm using in this studio section. I've been having a lot of fun using this so far, and while I'm undecided about whether I like it more than HLG, it does seem to be even less work straight out of camera. Not to be confused with straight out of Compton. Both noteworthy, but S-Cinetone clearly has been less influential on hip-hop and rap music, at least so far. Upgrade theme number 4 is all about extra shooting options, and those of you who've been here for a while know that I love testing camera stabilization, so of course the addition of active steady shot digital stabilization is right up my street. And thankfully, the implementation of active steady shot seems to be much closer to the good version in the A7S III and ZV-1 in terms of a fairly small crop into the image and results that look pretty usable for vlogging, rather than the less good version in the ZV-E10. I'm planning a deep dive on A7 IV stabilization among quite a few other areas, so more to follow on that. But another extra option I can cover completely, concisely, and currently is cards. Firstly, the A7 IV gets dual card slots. Nice upgrade over the A7C, even if it is parity with the A7 III. However, one of those slots now supports the much faster CF Express standard, which offers some advantages like allowing recording of those highest quality, highest data rate codec options. And while some of you might not be too concerned about all those codec options given all the other upgraded choices, I suspect there's a higher chance that you care about those higher frame rates in 4K, with 4K 60 now available and an uncropped version of 4K 30, both a clear and powerful upgrade over the options in the A7C. The last of our 5 upgrade areas is design. This is distinct from ergonomics because, at least in my fractured mind, that is about the feel and the constantly noticeable user experience, while design is picking up the other physical product choices that are a bit less prominent. The A7 IV has a full HDMI output for a start, whereas the A7C and most of Sony's other cameras were limited to mini HDMI. And like a penguin dance party, that connection and the others are behind some excellent flaps. It might sound minor, but these make the ports feel much more secure and improve the overall feel of the camera, making it just a lot more premium. The same goes for the locking SD card bay. And now, what better way to shut down the video than with mention of shutter? Don't worry, the feature itself is a lot better than that terrible segue, since we now finally have the ability to make the shutter close when the camera is turned off, meaning much better protection for the sensor when changing lenses. I had recently the chance to go to Scotland for the first time with one of my really good friends. He has a ZV-1 and does some video work, so I took along my A7C and I was starting to show him the camera. I went to change the lens and point out the sensor, and boom, one of us had some stray saliva in that subsequent succinct sequence of saying, and splash, little spot of saliva on the sensor. Never happened before or since, but super annoying, and it meant for the rest of the trip no more shooting until I got home and cleaned the sensor. No harm done, but damn, was that a timely thing to make me appreciate the shielding shutter shtick of the A7 IV. And speaking of appreciation, if you enjoyed the video, then like, subscribe, comment, check out the affiliate links to help keep the channel going and to gain a ton of my appreciation. Some may say the cash value of that appreciation is hard to estimate, but that's probably a mathematical mystery for next time. There's also a good chance we'll talk more about some of the potential A7 IV drawbacks. I really want to see how the battery life and low light performance especially compare to the A7C, where the A7C's simpler design and fewer megapixels could in fact be advantages. But until that next time, take it easy. However, one of those card slots now supports the much faster CF Express so hard to say, you fool? Fool. Anyway, upgrade not, let me try to speak. I cannot speak. That's not very helpful when you're trying to present a video. And now it's saying, let's stop that.